If you've always wanted to create your own manga, but you feel stuck and overwhelmed, not knowing what to do, then this video is for you. We're going to talk about 5 common beginner mangaka mistakes that's killing your progress. The last one might just be the biggest mistake you'll ever make, so make sure to stay until the very end of this video to find out what that is. If you've always wanted to share your stories, make an impact, and inspire other people through your manga, then we invite you to join our online one-shot manga drawing program. We help beginner mangakas go from feeling stuck and frustrated to feeling confident and empowered by giving you an exact roadmap on how to create your own manga. We'll teach you how to design amazing characters, how to write compelling stories, how to put together a storyboard, how to draw stunning backgrounds, and basically all the skills and knowledge that you need to create your first one-shot manga. You'll get to work with pro-Japanese mangakas who have over 50 years of experience in the industry. They'll give you feedback live during our weekly Zoom sessions. Plus, you'll be in a supportive community learning with fellow aspiring mangakas who are just as awesome and passionate as you are. If you're curious what our students say about their experience, you can check out their testimonials through the link in the description. If you think you're ready to transform your manga journey, then make sure to book a free consultation call with us to see if you'd be a good fit to work with us. The link is in the description. P.S. We're only taking on students who are at least 18 years old and are out of high school. If you're still below 18, then make sure to subscribe to our channel and learn from our free manga tips and tutorials. Keep working on your manga and we'll talk to you in a few years. A common mistake aspiring mangakas make is thinking that it's too late. Sure, life has a way of catching up with everyone. When you're managing responsibilities like school or a job or even a family, there comes a time when you might have to set aside your passions, your dreams. But when the time comes for you to dust the pages off your old sketchbook or maybe even pick up a pencil for the first time in years, you might think, am I too late? Whether you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, or even beyond, it's never too late. It's never too late to reignite your spark and embrace your dream. Ever heard of the anime Ranking of Kings? The creator of the manga, Sosuke Toka, debuted as a mangaka when he was 41 years old. When he was 23, he wanted to become a mangaka, but he never got anywhere. He went to design school, but he didn't have the right skills to make manga. He'd submit his work to editors and get rejected over and over and over again. So he gave up. He started working a regular 9-to-5 to finally have a more stable job. At age 41, he was single and had a pretty easygoing life, but he wasn't exactly happy. So he quit his corporate job and tried making manga again. He self-published his debut manga, Ranking of Kings, online in 2017. It blew up. And now it's got its own anime adaptation that's equally as popular.
You're not bad at all, Boji!
You know what Toka-sensei's story shows us? That action creates opportunities. Toka-sensei worked tirelessly as an office worker for years, but later in life, he decided he wanted to pursue his dream again. He took the chance, figuring that his dream was worth the risk. And it was. When you put your manga out there, even if it's not perfect, you're giving yourself the opportunity to be seen, to be heard, to find a community that resonates with your story, and maybe even a chance to turn your passion into an actual career. It doesn't matter how old you are. Take a leap of faith. Stop overthinking and just start. Once you've started, you have to make sure you keep challenging yourself. It's so easy to get stuck in your comfort zone. And this is why so many of you feel like you've been drawing for years, but you're not anywhere close to the level you want to be. A common struggle we've seen in our students is that they draw in the same boring angles and shots.
Why are they all looking in the same direction?
Lots of headshots, bust shots, and single perspective front-facing angles. It's so different from how pros do it, right? Part of what makes manga so awesome is the dynamic scenes. They look like they came straight out of a movie, but most beginners don't know how to do this. Why? Because a lot of your experience lies in simply just copying your favorite characters looking good. And when you do try to learn, what's the first thing you learn? Heads, faces, expressions. A lot of people get stuck never graduating from the basics because when you try something more challenging, it doesn't look as good. And then you feel bad about yourself. So you just stick to what you're able to draw because it actually looks decent. But that's what stunts your growth. When you translate that to a manga, you're left with flat, boring scenes, stiff characters, and very repetitive panels. You might have these amazing scenes in your head, but it's so hard to put your vision accurately on paper. Use references and consume as much manga as you can. All kinds of manga. Copy the scenes and not just the characters. And as you're copying, try to understand how the composition works. Look at the different angles and perspectives. Look at the different shots and how they're organized. Look at how the mangaka uses space to balance out the pacing of the story. And try copying all kinds of scenes. Not just the ones you like. The more varied, the better. The goal is to build up your knowledge, your visual library, and your sense for storytelling. We'll be real here. You can watch as many drawing tutorials on YouTube as you want, but at the end of the day, if you want to become a mangaka, mangas are your ultimate learning resource. And the most important lesson you'll take from reading manga is that manga is all about visual storytelling, which leads us to the next big mistake beginners make: telling stories instead of showing them. This is what our mentors always remind our students. Show, don't tell. Let your manga show the story with your visuals instead of filling it with too much exposition. We've noticed that a lot of beginners tend to overthink and easily make the mistake of putting too much into one page, like using too much text and overwhelming your readers with too much information. Your panels turn out looking overcrowded. Not to throw shade or anything, but Western comics tend to look like this. In Western comics, the text is very dense. There are a lot of speech bubbles and text boxes everywhere. There's a lot of reliance on dialogues and narrations. This is one of the major differences between Western comics and Japanese manga. Japanese manga has its own unique style of visual storytelling, and a lot of the credit goes to manga's expert use of space and paneling. Pro mangakas are masters at paneling. Paneling is the art of effectively visualizing and arranging scenes to tell a story. You need to know how to fill up the space on your page spread in the best way possible. Mangakas don't look at each page individually. They look at both the right and left pages together. That's your spread. Think of it as one big canvas. Pro mangakas aren't afraid to use larger panels or bigger space to emphasize moments and deliver more impact. Or use little to no text to highlight a scene or an expression. Rather than heavy text or dialogues, mangakas put a heavier emphasis on action, expression, and movement to tell a story. And all this is achieved through the visuals. You have to consider the pacing of your story, the emotions or message you want to come across, character movement, camera angles, number of panels, their sizes, placement, speech bubbles, sound effects, and so much more. Basically, a lot of thought goes into this. When you're a beginner, it's hard to know how to put these elements together. For example, our student Raven struggled with this. The past few months, Raven's been working on the storyboards for her one-shot. Let's take a look at them. Here's the first draft of the very first page of her one-shot. And you can see there's a lot going on. She used a lot of panels, scenes, and text boxes. It looks very busy and lacks a sense of excitement that would grab a reader's attention at first glance. Let me remind you, this is the very first page. The very first page of your manga has to hook your reader so they'll want to stick around. Our pro mangaka mentors noticed right away that Raven's first page lacked that punch. They gave her feedback and she redid her storyboard. Now, look at the third draft of the same storyboard. Notice the change? She used less panels, the text is shorter but concise, her scenes look much more dynamic and impactful. Now it looks more like an exciting first page, right? That's the magic of showing instead of telling. Speaking of showing, the next mistake on this list is not sharing your art with others. We've met a lot of aspiring mangakas that feel scared to share their art. You're bearing a piece of your soul into these drawings and stories. It's natural to feel a bit overprotective of your work and a bit anxious about how people will react to it. And you never know how people will react.
Will they like it? Will they hate it?
Talk about pressure. From our experience though, it helps to have a solid support system. And the only way to find that is if you tell other people about it first. Otherwise, how can anyone even know you're into making manga? If you share your goals and others see how hard you're working at it, you'll attract people who want to support you and root for you. If you're not ready to share your work with complete strangers, then you can start with your friends or even your family, people you can trust and feel comfortable around. When Naruto mangaka Masashi Kishimoto was a kid, do you know who he showed his first sketches to? His twin brother. Yes, Kishimoto sensei has a twin brother. He and his twin Seishi, who is also a mangaka, have been drawing manga together since they were kids. Kishimoto sensei would often show his sketches and story ideas to Seishi, and Seishi would do the same. Growing up watching the same shows and reading the same manga, they supported each other and influenced each other's art style. It's amazing what a healthy support system can do.
I'll always be there for my big brother. Thanks, I appreciate it. Will do.
If you're the type that's not comfortable sharing your work with people in your life, you can connect with fellow aspiring mangakas on online communities like Discord, Reddit, or even Facebook groups. We know how nerve-wracking it is to share your work to the world, especially when you feel like it might not be good enough. But honestly, it doesn't help keeping this all to yourself. If you feel scared, just remember One Sensei and how he had the courage to release One Punch Man despite his art skills. For those of you who don't know, this version of One Punch Man is already a remake by mangaka illustrator Yusuke Murata. This is the original One Punch Man. It was a webcomic that One Sensei started in 2009. One Sensei's big break came through Murata Sensei. Murata Sensei was actually a big fan of the original One Punch Man webcomic, and he contacted One Sensei in 2011 for a potential collaboration. At that point, Murata Sensei was already an established mangaka for illustrating Eyeshield 21 in collaboration with writer Riichiro Inagaki. Eyeshield 21 was a manga about American football that had over 300 manga chapters. It was also adapted into an anime that lasted 145 episodes. With that kind of success, you can imagine Murata Sensei had connections in the manga and anime industry. He helped open doors for One Sensei, who had originally intended One Punch Man to simply just be a one-off title to practice his art skills. One Sensei himself never expected One Punch Man to grow so big. He just saw how much his readers enjoyed it, and he was inspired to continue his story. At the end of the day, being a pro mangaka isn't just about making stories you love, but also making stories other people will read. You have to find the confidence and courage to share your art and stories to the world. Only then can you really start to open up more opportunities for yourself. Now, it's time to finally reveal the biggest mistake on this list. It's something almost every aspiring mangaka has made before, and I'm sure you have too. The biggest mistake you could ever make is getting in your own way. Just look in the nearest mirror and you'll see your biggest obstacle. You.
I'm not good enough. My art isn't good enough. My story isn't good enough. Even if I give it my all, what if I never get anywhere? What if I never make it?
Every time you doubt yourself and your potential, it's another brick in the wall separating you from your manga dreams.
That possibility makes me terrified that I'm going to choose the wrong path.
All these negative thoughts can snowball and lead you on a downward spiral. And it manifests in different ways, like feeling scared of drawing or actually putting your story on paper. It's interesting how so many people say they want to become a pro mangaka, but they start self-sabotaging themselves before things get real.
Oh, I'm not ready. I think I need to practice more.
Sometimes they even come up with excuses like this isn't the right time for them. as if they're looking for some kind of special moment to finally allow themselves to pursue their dreams. So here's my question for you. When will it be the right time? After 10, 20, 30 years of putting it on the back burner? Honestly, there will never be a perfect moment. Life will always happen. Problems will pop up whether you like it or not. It's just a matter of how you can navigate around that to finally take your manga dreams seriously. Remember we mentioned earlier that Yusuke Murata contacted One Sensei to redraw One Punch Man? Do you know what made him decide to finally pursue this project? Murata Sensei was sick, and he seriously thought he was about to die. While in the hospital, he said to himself,
I guess people die just like that. If I'm going to die, I want to do something I'd really love to do. I want to draw manga with One Sensei.
That's when he finally decided to contact One Sensei. If you think about staying on the same path you're on, feeling stuck, lost, and frustrated, not having your manga out, not having the platform to share your stories and characters to the world, wouldn't that suck? Now, imagine being in that kind of situation in the next 5 to 10 years. How would you feel? Sad? Disappointed? Terrified of that kind of future? If you know that's how you'd feel, then wouldn't it be worth it to actually give it a try? Not a half-assed, let me try it for the sake of saying I tried, but really giving it a shot and feeling good knowing you did your best. You never know what kind of amazing opportunities are waiting for you in this alternative future. Only you get to choose if you want to walk down this path. If you're ready to finally bring your stories and characters to life, inspire other people through your manga, and prove to yourself that you can do it, then we invite you to join our one-shot manga drawing program. We help beginner mangakas go from feeling stuck and frustrated to feeling confident and empowered by giving you an exact roadmap on how to create your first one-shot manga. We'll teach you how to design amazing characters, how to write compelling stories, how to put together a storyboard, how to draw stunning backgrounds, and basically all the skills and knowledge that you need to create your first one-shot manga. You'll get to work with pro-Japanese mangakas who have over 50 years of combined experience in the industry. They'll give you feedback live during our weekly Zoom sessions. Plus, you'll be in a supportive community learning with fellow aspiring mangakas who are just as awesome and passionate as you are. If you're ready to finally transform your manga journey, then make sure to book a free consultation call with us to see if you'd be a good fit to work together. The link is in the description. P.S. We're only taking on students who are at least 18 years old and have graduated high school. If you're still below 18, then make sure to subscribe to our channel and learn from our free manga tips and tutorials. In the meantime, keep working on your manga and we'll talk to you in a few years. We recommend checking out this video to learn the steps to creating your first one-shot manga with no experience.